All right, and we're live. Hi there, welcome to Chasing Alpha. My name is Rod. It's awesome to have you along. Thank you for watching. Look, we basically aim to bring you the latest investments across the board, and we aim to get you news before it comes out. So we give you some good, solid investment tips and things that we're doing. My name is Rod, as I said.
And I am Dean. And please subscribe and like because it'll allow us to provide you with more decent content.
Absolutely. First thing we should start off with, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. Dean and I are very, very passionate about crypto, especially, but across all the different asset classes. But please do your own research. This is not financial advice. These are just some ideas and these are our opinions. So, where are we starting today, Dean?
So I think there's been a lot of buzz in the media lately about the Libra tokens from Facebook. So we wanted to focus on that and give viewers at home and you guys, kind of an in-depth look, in-depth but concise look at what's actually happening, what's happening in the background, what they have plans, and how it relates to the crypto market as a whole, as it stands today. And whether it's good news, whether it's bad news, we're going to sum it up and also show you some partners that they have lined up, which are all exciting things. That's all happening in the crypto land. So let's get into it.
Very nice, very nice. So what we have today for you is 5 frequently asked questions, or 5 questions that might be buzzing around your head and that you might be thinking of asking. And so we've tried to allocate some time to those. So I'll get into those. So the first one I've got for you today, DJ, is Facebook Libra. Is it centralized or decentralized?
Well, they claim that it's decentralized in a sense that the node operators operate their own hardware. So there's no single point of failure. So they've covered themselves that way. However, we refer to decentralization for traditional cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. And what we mean when we say decentralized is the immutability and trustless properties of cryptocurrencies. So, for example, no one can take your Bitcoin from you. No one can freeze your Bitcoins in your wallet. Nobody can interfere with the transactions once it's broadcasted to the network. So the operations for Libra token is maintained and controlled by Libra project. So the FBI could effectively shut down the North American division of Libra operations or investigate transactions for on the citizens, and they have to comply with the law pretty much. So Libra says they have plans to go trustless in the future, but how will they do that? Is it just promises? It's some big question. And look, at the end of the day, they want your data. Facebook has your social data, and now they want your financial data.
Absolutely, and I think we'll touch on the data a little bit later on. So, I guess the only comparison we can look at is Bitcoin as another major coin, but decentralized means obviously no one's in control of it. But what they've got is what they're relying on is 100 different companies, which they spread across the coin. But the thing is that, as you said, if the government or laws in the different countries decide to shut them down, they actually have to abide, and then therefore it actually is centralized, isn't it?
That's right.
Interesting. All right. Second FAQ we have. Dean, what do you think of Libra as a investment coin like any other cryptocurrency? What are your thoughts? Is it good for investment or not?
Well, it's a short answer is no, because it is essentially it'll mimic the properties of a stable coin. And it'll be backed by low volatile assets. For example, your government treasuries, bonds, cash, etc. So that'll stabilize the price of the asset, of the assets underlying the Libra tokens, and which in a sense it'll maintain the price of the Libra token itself. So it won't deviate too far away. It won't fluctuate in price like, for example, Bitcoin or Ethereum does. And at the same time, it means that it won't go up either. So it won't appreciate in price. So there's no investment here.
Okay, so I mean, just as a comparison, would you see Libra a little bit like Tether? I mean, it basically sits at around $1 US or there or thereabouts. Is that what we're looking at here? Is it?
Pretty much. That's correct. However, I should say Tether is operating on a fractional reserve system, which, however, Libra actually does not plan to have a fractional reserve system like the central banks do, which is a good thing, which is good news actually, because so that means every single dollar will be backed by a dollar worth of assets.
Understand. Okay. Third FAQ that we have, or frequently asked question, who's actually backing Libra?
So currently, Facebook is inviting coalition members to the table, and currently they have 28 members. I think we've got a snapshot of those names. If you bring it up,
yes. If you just bear with me, I'll get my technical. There you go. Oh, we'll see. Bitcoin's at 9,800 at an all-time high for the 2019, which is exciting. We can talk about that a bit later. So, all right, here we go, Dean. What have we got here?
Yep, so as you can see, there's some household names there. So there's about 28 partners there. So each one of them have to pay membership fee of at least $10 million to join, and optionally become a validator node operator. Basically, this gives the node operators one vote in the Libra Association Council, and it entitles each one of these members to proportionate return on their investment. So which will basically be the return from the reserve funds that Libra has. So this will be basically dividends and distributions or interest earned on the Libra reserve, into which users pay fiat currency to receive Libra. So funny thing is, we actually deposit money, and the billion-dollar corporations earn the dividends from our investments. And the Zuck does it again. He takes our money and and profits from it big time. And this is the biggest number one revenue stream that they will have for the organization.
Right. So it feels like he's done very well on two fronts, because obviously we talked about earlier, Dean, cryptocurrency is not quite mainstream yet. And we talk about nodes. Well, he hasn't gone for, having, $1,000 or $2,000 US worth of the coin that'll get you a node. He's gone for a very, very high amount. And obviously that attracts a higher user. But also, so you're saying that money in our fiat bank account, which attracts a very small amount of interest, that's actually better off in our bank account than it is in Libra, because we don't make anything off it.
That's pretty much right. I mean, in a bank account, a checking everyday account, you don't usually make interest anyways. However, if you have a term deposit or savings account, you do make a very small amount of interest, which is an offset for your, for the inflation annual inflation. So which means that we're not any worse off. However, keeping your money in Libra will essentially mean that we are worse off. And like Facebook in itself won't actually see any money from this investment, or very, very small proportion of it. However, it will be Facebook will be the sole benefactor of all the data, the delicious data that they collect on us, pretty much.
Right, and that I mean, that to me seems where this is a huge moneymaker for them. It's not some coin that's going to start off at a fraction of a cent and then become $10 and then make a huge multiplier. It's actually your data and my data that they're going to be selling off to companies to learn more about us and advertise more specifically to us.
I mean, Facebook has said that they're going to treat our data with utmost privacy policies. Very very they're going to keep it under lock and key. But then again, time and time again, Facebook has promised in the past, and they've always had leaks, or for instance, the recent Cambridge Analytica saga that happened, that kind of showed what they were doing. And I don't know if you remember, Mark Zuckerberg was sweating profusely when he was being questioned on it. So.
I remember that.
So yeah.
Interesting. So next question we have is Dean, do you see any comparisons to Bitcoin, and is this a coin that's going to knock Bitcoin off its perch of being the number one coin in the cryptocurrency space?
In terms of in the cryptocurrency market, I don't think it will knock off, it will knock out Bitcoin from its kingship. However, I do think it's the opposite, actually. I think it's going to have a massive it's going to have a massive boom onboarding process for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency as a whole.
Understand. So what you're saying is that someone like Facebook obviously massive company. There's some of the names on the screen we see, Spotify, eBay, Uber.
Yeah.
I mean, these are also very large companies. So because they're getting on board with what's seen as a form of a cryptocurrency, you think this is actually going to bring a lot more bullish tendencies into the crypto market, which will effectively what we hope to see is Bitcoin actually rise in price.
Yeah, so there was a piece that I read recently about how the Libra project will have developers, third-party developers and wallets, and they'll have integrations, so which means that you can essentially have a wallet, or potentially have a wallet that would house your Libra tokens, but also potentially have your Bitcoin as well, so you can store both Libra and your Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, which is amazing, because then all of a sudden that would mean that there'll be exchanges out there potentially that would allow you to trade Libra tokens for traditional fiat currencies or even cryptocurrencies. And if that's the case, it basically means that there'd be a massive sell-off of Libra and also buying of Libra and vice versa. So I think it'll have massive cross benefits for both. But I think crypto will benefit more so than Libra, I think.
Okay, and so I guess the biggest part of it is how they're going to roll this out. I mean, do we go into Binance and just buy the coin and send it to Facebook, or how does it actually work?
Mhm. So that part of the detail wasn't really explicitly expressed, because they're still working on the nitty gritty. But they will, you would basically deposit some funds, and I presume there'll be some affiliations with bank accounts, or that's why PayPal is one of their node hosts as well, node operators, which mean that you can actually transfer money or value from PayPal to your Libra account, and vice versa. So there's still information yet to come about how the actual flow of funds work within and outside of Libra. So that'll be quite interesting to keep our eyes on. Yeah, sure.
Very nice, very nice. Well, look, that covers our 5 FAQs. We've just come up with a list of things that we think that could be basically the key points on this whole Facebook Libra topic. So I'll just bring those up now. So, Dean, centralized.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts?
Well, as we explained earlier, so it's not immutable. It's not trustless yet, which is very, very bad, because it means that all the properties that we hold dear to cryptos, or half of them's not there, right? You can't just have people operating nodes and calling it fully decentralized. It's not. So to me, it is centralized, and which is obviously a red big bad one of the properties of it.
Definitely. Next one. So they're not going to pay us interest on our hard-earned money that we've turned to Libra. What do you reckon?
Yeah, so there's no plans that I could see that that has us, the actual users, consumers, earning interest on the deposit. How they set it up is the reserve funds will be generating a return, and that return will go straight divided upon the corporate conglomerates that are part of the node operators, which is again, yeah. So we won't see anything. It'll just be there for us to spend and use.
Gotcha. Okay. So the fact that they're not going to run a fractional reserve system like the central banks, this is good or bad?
That's right. It's good, which means that it'll actually be stronger and have more value than Tether, because Tether, as I mentioned earlier, is operating under a fractional reserve system, which is not good. It's same as fiat, and also at the same time, fiat is backed by the central banks themselves, whereas Tether is backed by nothing essentially. So this is actually a one better than central banks even. However, I should point out that although that's what they're aiming to achieve, it could actually be changed down the line. And again, it's not something that they're obligated to do. It's what they're saying they will do, but they can always change.
Fair enough. The fact that they're going to charge interest to borrowers, or the fact that they're even going to be borrowing money via Libra, is quite interesting.
Yeah, so this one, there was no mention of it in the report that I read, but this is something that from being from a traditional background, a financial background, it just makes sense. if you have billions of dollars in reserve, um, and people are putting more money into the reserve, there'll be the other side of the coin where people will want to buy today. They'll buy something they won't have the funds for. And if you look at one of the companies that's become one of the stars in the last 2 years, or the last year at least, it's an Australian company listed on the exchange ASX. It's called Afterpay. And so they basically made the money and on exactly that. So they will lend you on small loans, and obviously they make a big cut from the interest that they charge. So if I want to buy a book from Amazon, for example, and I know Amazon's not part of the list yet, but say if Amazon were to become part of the list, I buy a book, $30. I don't have the money right now. I borrow $30 from Libra, and I'll have to pay back Libra in a week or two, $31. Now, it might not seem like a lot, but on an annualized percentage basis, it's quite significant. And I feel it's bad. It goes against what we believe in crypto.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's been so many companies like that pop up lately. I mean, like I'm sure Facebook are very aware of it, and it looks like quite a good money maker. So I think what you say is definitely right. Next one. So they will be pushing KYC, or know your customer. Is this good or bad?
It's good and bad. So it depends on where you stand in this argument. It could, for all those people out there that prefer privacy and anonymity, it's bad, because it would mean that you cannot use this as a system, you cannot use the infrastructure without giving up your identification and letting people know exactly what you're doing. Look, there's also good. It could mean good because it'll mean that there's no money laundering, so it'll stop money laundering. It'll stop funding bad people that could be that operating on the net. So things like that. There's good and bad. But at the same time, for freedom of speech and freedom of privacy and all of that, I think it's bad. So I would tend to be in the middle of this. I don't know. Everyone's each their own, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the argument could be the good is that obviously it stops anti-money laundering or any sort of illegal trading of any description. Like obviously how Bitcoin's kind of history with with things being purchased that you shouldn't be buying. But then bad, obviously, that you don't get to stay anonymous, and as you said, Facebook do get more of your data. So our last point here is the third-party developer apps will not go through a stringent vetting process. So you could have more hacks, you're saying?
That's right. So one of the reports that I read, that they don't have immediate plans to actively go through stringent processes, vetting processes for the applications, third-party applications, which would mean that if there's a malware, like a bug in one of the wallets, that would basically mean that they could siphon off your funds. Libra could actually be scrutinized, and it'll fall back on Facebook, because people associate Libra with Facebook. So it could actually mean it could hurt Facebook in the long run.
Gotcha. Well, look, that wraps up our key points for today on the Facebook Libra token. Look, I think overall we are very bullish for the crypto market with Facebook coming on board doing some sort of a cryptocurrency. We think overall it's definitely going to help our cause rather than push it against. What are your final thoughts there, Dean?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of infrastructure that's been built over the last last year. And I think this is starting to just show up in the results now. So we're seeing Libra. We're going to be seeing back soon. A lot of news coming through, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, and it's just building up. And I think it's going to be flowing through in the price. We're already seeing that now. I mean, I think the previous video we predicted Bitcoin leading up to the halving to be somewhere between 14,000 and 18,000. I think that's very conservative, and we like being conservative here. Yeah. I think it could be even a lot more than that. So if it is, that's great. It's always better being pleasantly surprised than
keep buying Bitcoin.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, it's not financial advice, but that's what we're doing anyway. That's
what that's 100% what we're doing. Excellent. Oh, well, look, thank you for stopping by today. We appreciate you taking time to watch our video. Look, please do like our video, subscribe to our channel. We also have a Telegram channel. We'll put that below in the comments. Look, if you've got some questions or some comments, let us know. We're interested to hear your feedback. Any parting thoughts there, Dean?
No, you basically are on the money there. So yeah, I mean, please do communicate with us. We like a bit of interaction, and it will help us to it will guide us in terms of the content that we provide. So the more information that you like, the more information you give us, the more information that we can actually bring to you. It's more relevant, right? So we're going to be pushing for more relevant and more timely and useful information, so you can essentially act on it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back again soon.